With the new ROG Xbox Ally dropping this October, I was found asking myself a question. And that question is, should I switch my existing ROG Ally for the newer, shinier Xbox version? So I thought I'd make this video to help me decide. So I've made no secret of the fact that I'm an Asus ROG fangirl. And I've owned the ROG Ally now for about a year and a half, and honestly, I have had a blast playing it. The performance is still good for the majority of the games that I play, and I love the fact that I can take games like Stardew Valley, Among Us, and Cyberpunk on the go with me, as well as when I'm sat on the couch. It's helped me get through many a boring train journey. But it's not perfect. One of my biggest pain points is actually the battery life. Depending on the game I'm playing, I can get about 2 hours max out of it before I'm hunting for a charger. That's not exactly the most portable experience. And then there's Windows itself. I don't feel like it's very handheld friendly. I often find myself fiddling with tiny menus, background apps, or updates when all I really want to be doing is playing a game. And then we've got the comfort side of things. It's okay, but after long sessions, my hands on those flat grips can feel a little bit cramped. It's usable, but not the most ergonomic handheld I've held. And I actually only have tiny little hands, so these big consoles feel really awkward in them, and that's actually one of the main reasons I switched from the Steam Deck to the ROG Ally. But despite all of these little quirks, it is really powerful and I still do really enjoy it, which is why I'm curious to see if the new Xbox version of the Ally is going to solve all of those problems or whether we're just going to see more of the same. Okay, so let's break down the new lineup. We're not just getting one, but two versions of the Xbox Ally this October. So let's take a look at the base model, which is the ROG Xbox Ally. It's rocking the new Ryzen Z2A chip paired with 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD. And on top of that, you're getting a 60-watt battery. That's a very solid foundation for most players. But if you want to push things a little further, then there's the ROG Xbox Ally X. I struggled to say that one then. This one steps up to the Ryzen A1 Z2 Extreme, and it has an increased RAM of 24 gigs, and it has a 1TB SSD, and an even bigger 80-watt power battery. So in short, this is the heavy hitter. And the best part is that both of these models drop on October the 16th, so there's not very long to wait. So we've got two flavours to pick from. You've got the just right base Ally, and then you've got the beefy Ally X. But the question is, which one should I go for? And I'm actually curious to know which one is calling your names. So what might set this Xbox version apart isn't just the hardware, it's actually the software experience itself. Instead of being dropped straight into the full Windows desktop, you're greeted with a full-screen Xbox-style interface. You can think of it like booting straight into a console dashboard instead of fighting with tiny menus or hidden settings. Navigation is actually fully controller first. That means no more fumbling with touchscreens or tiny taskbars, just to launch a game. Switching between your game libraries, settings and storefronts looks to be way faster and feels a lot more natural. And maybe the biggest win for me personally is that there's going to be fewer Windows obstructions. So apparently there's going to be less clutter, fewer background prompts, and more focus on what a handheld gaming console should be. And that's just jumping in and playing. So could this be a console-ready UI built for the Ally and not just a shrunken down PC experience? I guess only time will tell. So it looks like one of the smartest changes that Microsoft are making to this Xbox Ally is, and I think this is one that we have all been waiting for, is clearer compatibility and performance labels. So games in store will now show if they're handheld optimized or just mostly compatible. That means that you're instantly going to know if a title is tuned for handheld play or if it might need some tweaking to run smoothly. I know that Steam has been doing this for a little while, but for me personally, they're not always particularly accurate, and for the newer releases, it can actually take a little while to be confirmed. On top of that, there is the Windows Performance Fit feedback. So basically, this tells you upfront whether a game should run great on the Ally or just okay. That tiny little bit of honesty actually makes buying new games a lot easier and less scary. There's no more gambling on whether it will stutter or drain your battery life in an hour. So for handheld gamers, I actually think this is quite huge. It finally feels like the software is being designed with handheld gamers in mind and not just ported from a desktop. So let's now talk performance and endurance. So this time solely focusing on the base ROG Xbox Ally. So as I said before, the base model uses Ryzen Z2A chip, which is solely designed for a balanced power profile, and that's at roughly 20 watts TDP, compared to the older version that I have, older 30-watt hardware. It's now paired with its 60-watt battery. What that means is that you will get notably better battery life than the older ROG Ally, which is a big bonus, which had a 40-watt battery and struggled to get even 2 hours in on the most demanding games. So with that data, it does roughly suggest that you'll get 2 to 3 hours gameplay, depending on the title and the settings, of course, especially if you're using the Xbox console mode or optimized profiles. And now, thanks to the Xbox optimized full screen interface and power profile tuning, most games will run more smoothly and efficiently. There'll be less tweaking needed and more playtime delivered. So basically, in a nutshell, with the Xbox Ally, you can expect a more energy efficient experience than with its predecessor. And you can expect noticeably longer playing sessions on its 60-watt battery, and that's without a huge drop in performance. The keen-eyed among you will notice that I've moved to a sitting position now because I'm getting old and my back's hurting. But anyway, on to possibly the most exciting upgrade, especially for me personally, and that's the advanced shader delivery. So Microsoft's DirectX team have developed a system that pre-compiles shaders. Yay! Basically, that's the code that powers lighting, textures, and visuals, and packages them into a standard format called a state object database. So this is actually going to be delivered via the Xbox PC app to your ROG Ally when you download a game. So in a nutshell, what this means is because your device isn't burning through CPU cycles compiling shaders, it actually runs cooler, more efficiently, and most importantly, it preserves battery life. Exactly what you want from a handheld. So for handheld gaming, for me, this is a little bit of a game changer. There's no more shader pop-ins, no hidden load screens, and you're just getting fast, smooth gameplay right out of the box. It's actually tech like this, optimized from the cloud, that makes the Xbox version feel more modern, more responsive, and built with handheld gaming in mind. So one of the changes that I'm most intrigued by is the Xbox Ally's ergonomics. The design now leads more into an Xbox style grip, which is rounded, it's contoured, and they actually sit in the palms of your hands instead of feeling like you're holding a flat tablet with sticks. And this really does hit home for me. As I've mentioned, I have tiny little hands, and I find a lot of handhelds awkward after long sessions. My thumbs and wrists can cramp up pretty quickly. If these new grips feel closer to an Xbox controller, that could be a big comfort upgrade, especially for me. So on the hardware side of things, the Ally X has some nice quality of life touches. So you have USB-C and USB 4 support, so external GPUs and docks are faster, plus you have a UHS to micro SD expansion. That's way better if you're loading your AAA games onto a card. The screen though is still unchanged, so it's still a 7-inch 1080p 12Hz LCD. There's no OLED or no HDR. That is slightly disappointing for me, but in all honesty, if the new shape and grips make the handheld more comfortable and it feels less like my hands have turned into claws, then possibly the Xbox Ally could win me over. So let's now talk pricing, because this is where things do get a little bit interesting. Right now, rumours put the Xbox Ally, so the base, at around $549, and the Xbox Ally X at a much steeper $899. But these numbers aren't confirmed yet, so we can take them with a grain of salt, and as of now, pre-orders aren't live. So if you're eyeing one of these, keep an eye on the retail listings and save those bookmarks. And for those of us in the UK, well, we're still waiting on the official numbers. So no pound pricing has been properly confirmed yet, which could make a big difference depending on how Asus positions it. But from what we've seen, this should roughly translate to 800 for the Xbox Ally X and around £520 for the base Xbox Ally. Though anything from around 900 to 600 is possible, so for now all we can really do is speculate. But if these rumoured numbers actually hold, the choice between the just right Ally and the powerhouse Ally X might come down for budget. And I think for me, if I was honest, I would want more RAM and storage if I were to compare the two. So the question is, will I upgrade to the Xbox Ally? And this is my honest verdict. So I'm actually still undecided. It's a yes for battery life and performance. The idea of getting 4 to 6 hours gameplay on the handheld is quite tempting, instead of scrambling for a charger every 2 hours. And it's a yes if it's comfortable. With smaller hands, as I said, I find a lot of devices awkward after an hour or two. And those Xbox style grips, they look like there may finally be a fix for that. For me, comfort matters just as much as raw specs, especially on those longer gaming sessions. So yes, I am tempted because of the battery life, the ergonomics, and the smoother Xbox-driven interface. That combination could well be enough to pull me away from my current Ally. And here are the reasons that I'm undecided. First up, there's the screen. I was really hoping to see an OLED upgrade, or at least some HDR support this time around. And the fact that it's still got the same 7-inch 1080p LCD is rather disappointing. It gets the job done, but now when you look at OLED on some other handhelds even, it feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity. And that's the thing. I don't actually hate what I've already got. My Ally still does the job. So when you weigh in the cost of upgrading, plus that lack of screen bump, yeah, I'm not ready to say for sure if I'd actually make the jump. So for now, I'm in a little bit of wait and see mode, tempted by the battery and ergonomics, but still quite disappointed by the screen, and the price tag itself actually makes it a little bit of a tough call whether to move away. So yeah, October is shaping up to be a big month for handhelds, and the Xbox Ally could shake things up for sure. But I'm still on the fence. Shall I take the plunge? Let me know. And actually, I'm interested to see what your thoughts are. Are you thinking about upgrading? And if you were, would you go for the base or would you go for the Xbox Ally X? Let me know. I'd love to hear if you think it's worth it or whether you're actually sticking with what you've got or going in a completely different direction. So before I wrap this up, because as you can tell, we went from daylight to being a little bit darker. This video took me a ridiculously long time to film today because I wasn't able to speak. But I just wanted to say, I really appreciate you sticking around until the end of the video. It does mean a lot. And I do notice when people hang out all the way to the end. So thank you very much. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the moment when I finally decide whether I'm upgrading or sticking with what I've got. Either way, October's going to be a fun month for handheld fans, and thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.